Sharpay Evans was the foil, the character that was the antagonist or the villain in other people's eyes of High School Musical. She was dramatic, she was extra, she was loud, and she wanted the spotlight and didn't apologize for it. And every single one of us was taught that she was the villain and she had to apologize. We were taught to root against her. But here's the thing nobody actually talks about or notices. Troy Bolton wanted the exact same thing. And somehow he was the hero. Troy Bolton wanted everything Sharpay had. The confidence, the stage, the attention. He just wanted it without being called selfish. And suddenly everybody agrees with him. Why? Because he was handsome? I mean, Sharpay had everything, the genes, the money, everything else. So it doesn't make sense. And somehow everybody, because he just smiled more and shared more and made himself easier to digest, he was called the hero. Okay. And we called her the villain. So my question today is, and I need you to sit with this one. When did you decide that being easy to love was more important than being true to yourself? Because it takes a whole lot of propaganda to believe that one. Because of that, what we've been doing for years and years now, quietly, consistently, is we've been shrinking, softening our edges, dimming our light just enough so that the people who are around us don't feel uncomfortable. And we've been calling it maturity. We've been calling it growth. We've been calling it being the bigger person. Ew. I want to be a size 4. I want to be a size 5. I want to be a size 0, for crying out loud. Bigger person who? Anyways. But because I'm going to say something that might actually sting a little, I'm gonna need you to sit down. Being likable has been slowly destroying you. And I think deep down you already know it. So today we are going to be talking about being the villain. We're going to be talking about what it means to step fully into being yourself. Not a version of you that was built to be accepted. The version of you that was built to exist. And y'all gotta stay with me. Because now we're going to go into the problem. Talk about what's actually going on here. Because it's not just a confidence issue. It goes deeper than that. We've been taught from a very young age that the feelings are either productive or they're the problem. If you're happy, great. Be happy. Just not too happy. Because if you're annoying, because then you become annoying, right? If you're sad, okay, but fix it quickly. Because nobody wants to be around somebody who's always sad. I'm pretty sure you've heard that one before. If you're angry, oh no. Angry is unacceptable. Angry is aggressive. Angry is not feminine. And angry is difficult. Put that away. A girl's not supposed to be angry. Why are you being angry? And if you're African, and you probably have heard this one before, don't be angry. You get a mustache. Don't be angry. You start to look like a man. Excuse you. Biology even says men start as women. Give us a break. But beyond that, what do? Right. We learn to curate our emotions. We learn to present the ones that make other people comfortable and bury the ones that don't. I'll tell you an example of my own. I was not allowed to cry growing up. Still not allowed to cry, really. Because if you cry, you're weak. You're summoning demons. That's what I've been told. That's life, yeah. We learned that, and over a very long time, we start to lose track of what we actually feel because we've been so focused on what we're supposed to feel. Right. And here's where it gets really interesting because it isn't random. It's a pattern. It has a name, and it's called emotional suppression through social conditioning, which is a very academic way of saying you are taught that your full self was too much, so you learned to make yourself smaller. And let me tell you something. The villain pushes back against this. And here's what. It says, what if your fuller self was never the problem. That's why you find Sharpay was always so extra. She was always so loud, and she was always shining, always happy. And she loved herself without caring about who had what to say about her, because she understood one thing, and that was, it doesn't matter. I will feel what I feel. I will scream when I want to. I will laugh when I want to. And if she needed to cry, I'm pretty sure she did. And she did good doing it. Because what if the people who made you feel like you're too much were just people who'd never actually learned to hold space for someone who was fully and unapologetically themselves and alive? That's the real question. And that's what we're going to be digging in today. Because it doesn't make any sense that all throughout generations, nobody really cried. Think about it. Now here's the why. The reason why being the villain is the best part. Because you get rewarded for being easy. You get rewarded for being agreeable. Who made other people feel comfortable without those who make other people feel comfortable without demanding other people that get the same in return? And that's a likability trap. It's not actually a real thing. It's something we've been taught for years, that the good girl gets everything. The nice girl gets the house. The nice girl gets the things. The nice girl that says yes to the man she's gonna sleep with gets it. But let's retrack a little bit. Just a bit. Number one, the first thing. That's a lie. We have already seen it. When you say, oh, you're easy to digest, another guy's gonna say, oh, you're too easy. She allows everybody to sleep with her. I know you know me. I know you know what I'm saying. You say, oh, I'm nice. And she's like, oh, my wife is the best. She allows me to do whatever I want. I can cheat and I'll just come back home. Yeah. That's the reward you get for being stuck in the likability trap. And it disproportionately cannot and has catched people who already taught themselves that their needs are secondary to somebody else's, and who already come into the world with a little less permission to take up space. And here's the thing about this likability trap. It works. In the short term, it really does work. You know, people call you, they say you're so chill, they say you're easy to be around, they call you low maintenance. Those all sound like insults to me nowadays. But yeah, internally, you're exhausted, you're resentful, and you're slowly losing track of who you actually are, because you spent so much energy managing what other people thought. You spend so much energy being who other people need you to be. And that's why we changed. That's why we become the villain. Not for the optics. Not because it's trendy to be unbothered right now. Not because the nonchalance is the best thing you could do right now. No. We change it because we cannot build anything real. Not in a life, not in a relationship, not a career, not a sense of self, on a foundation that is designed to collapse the moment the constant is no longer you stopping, you performing. The moment you perform, it suddenly goes down. You deserve something real. And sometimes being real looks like you being the villain. It looks like you being Catherine Pierce. It looks like you being Faye Evans. It looks like you being the most horrible person everybody else sees. Going into the third part, which is the shift. Here, we really need to get into it. So what do we change? What does the shift actually look like for us? Because I've got 5 things here, and I'm not going to sugarcoat them for you. The first shift is self-respect is not arrogance, right? We've been so deeply confused about what self-respect actually is. Self-respect is not thinking you're better than everybody else. Unlike Shabari. It's not being arrogant. It's not being difficult. It's self-respect is the quiet, firm, unshakable decision that you matter. That your needs matter. That your time matters and your peace matters above all else. And somewhere along the line, someone taught you that made you selfish. So we've stopped believing it. And that was the first thing that needed to go. The second shift will be, you are not too much. Let me say this clearly, because I think some of you need to hear it in plain language. You are not too much. You were never too emotional. You were never too intense. You were never too loud or too quiet, too ambitious or too sensitive. You were just a girl growing up. You were just put in the wrong rooms. That is all there was. Around the wrong people, in the environments that were small, that would want you to grow in a way that's so disgusting. Like, they were too small for what you were carrying, and you need to understand that. You were just a candle that was bright, and they wanted to dim your light. You needed a darker room. You needed people who could see you. And those people are the people you were supposed to find. Number 3, stop shrinking yourself. This one is practical and isn't comfortable, because shrinking yourself doesn't always look like hiding. Sometimes it looks like laughing at a joke you didn't find funny because the silence felt too awkward. I think many men could relate to this one, especially about those jokes about women which you're not supposed to be finding funny and you still do. Really? Agreeing with an opinion you didn't actually hold because disagreeing felt like conflict. I myself am a very big victim to this one. Making yourself the punchline because someone else would. You know this one, and I know you do. This, oh, I'm a loser, I'm bad, oh this, oh that. Stop shrinking, girl, it's not fun. That's all shrinking, and it has to stop. Not because it makes you look weak, though it does. Because every time you do it, you teach yourself that you are not worth protecting, and that lesson will compound over time. Let me tell you something very simple. Every single time you decide to disregard yourself, every single time you disregard yourself, your needs and your wants, your brain learns that, oh, I don't matter as much. So it's okay. I am very good at being a disappointment. And that is the firm belief that you're going to keep for the longest time. And it will be kept until you decide to unlearn otherwise. Then the 4th shift is going to be change the narrative you have about yourself. This is a deep one, because the voice in your head that says you're too much, nobody actually likes you, always do this, that voice did not come from inside you. It came from something that was said to you, something that was done to you, something you watched happen, absorbed into your identity. And you've been carrying it like it belongs to you. It doesn't. The shift is that you are allowed to reason with yourself. You're allowed to catch the voice mid-sentence and say, wait, am I being my own executioner or am I being a support group? There is a difference. If you find yourself being your own executioner, that means, is it really true? Is there something I need to change? Or is it a story I inherited from somebody out there who wanted to dim my light because theirs was already dark? Talk that tea. And then the 5th shift. Stop abandoning your goals to make other people comfortable. This last one is the one people don't want to talk about, because it's one thing to people please in a conversation. It's another thing entirely to people please with your life. To put your dream on pause because the people around you aren't ready for you to move. To stay small in your career because your success was making someone else feel inadequate. To silence the part of you that knew exactly what you wanted because nobody around you was doing it yet. That's not selfishness. That's self-abandonment dressed up as selflessness. Or does? What? No. And we're not doing that anymore. We are not doing that. We're not being selfless anymore, or whatever you want to call what you do. We're going to turn ourselves around and be the villain. And now I'm going to give you the formula to being the villain. Okay, so this part is where I give the framework, the actual steps, because I don't just leave you with the feeling. I want to give you more. I want to give you the move. Step 1, self-respect is a daily practice. It's something that works. That is the first part of the formula. Not a feeling, not something you want to earn, a practice. Every single day you make one decision, one small tiny decision that is entirely for you, that prioritizes your needs over performance. That's step 1. Plant the flag. Now, step 2 is recognize that you are not too much. Simple, right? It's easy. That exercise here is simple, and it will feel very awkward. I'll tell you that. Every time you catch yourself apologizing for your personality, your energy, your emotions, your ambitions, even the color of your skin, take a pause. Ask yourself, am I actually doing something wrong, or am I just being myself in a room that wasn't built for me? Most of the time, the second one is the actual truth. Start noticing when that's true. Step 3, stop shrinking. Say this again, stop shrinking. One conscious act of not shrinking yourself per day is the starting point. You don't have to go from invisible to loud overnight. No. You just take a pick one moment where you hold your ground instead of folding, where you keep your opinion instead of taking it back, where you let the silence sit instead of filling it with an apology. One moment every single day. I'll give you an example. Where at home, I had to always clean up after everybody because they used to weaponize their incompetence. And because I'm the oldest daughter, I used to take it up and be like, okay, I'll have to do this anyways. Now I don't do that anymore. I set rules. I told them I'm not going to clean up after you. You're going to clean up after yourself. And they have learned those rules. And they've learned those rules. And now I don't have to stress myself about, oh, whatnot. Because they know that if they don't, I'm not chill about it anymore. I will get them to do what needs to be done, no matter what they perceive me of. And I don't apologize for existing like that. And step 4, rewrite one narrative. This is usually, we do it in a book. I have my own personal shadow work book. You can find your own, and you're gonna do one thing. Find a sentence in your head that you say to yourself most often. Just write it down. The one that sounds like a fact, but it's actually just a bad habit. Yeah? Something rather. Write it down, or write a version of the sentence that is just as true. Probably more true, but kinda. Make it something small. Like, I'll give an example. I used to genuinely I used to think I was too much. I used to dress too much. I used to think that the way I styled myself was a lot. Yeah, and I wrote it down. I wrote it down that I dress too much. I overdress. That's what I was told by a lot of people. My own father included. I was told I'd overdress. And then I just changed the narrative just a little bit. It was really very simple. And I told myself that I dress to impress myself. Now, every single time I look in the mirror, all I see is how impressed I am about the way I style myself. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. As long as I feel good about myself, it's already changed. The moment you change just one tiny part of that sentence to make it a positive and assuring one, you will see how it's going to change everything. It's not delusional, by the way. It's not toxic positivity. It's honest and it's fair. You wouldn't let someone speak to your best friend the way you speak to yourself. And I know that's for sure. You wouldn't speak to yourself in the same way, because if somebody talked to your child the way you talk to yourself, I am pretty sure you would open up this fist. You would have a fight. So I don't understand why you talk to yourself like that. It doesn't make any sense. Start treating yourself with some basic courtesy. You need it more than anyone else. Now, step 5. Protect your goals like they're sacred, because they are. They are very sacred. Your goals will come before anything else. There's something called each man for himself, God for us all. I don't really believe in the context that it's usually used, but I will say that it has some truth to it. Sometimes your goals will be distracted if you decide to keep giving yourself up to others. It's not how it works. The thing you want to build, whatever it is, that is not a nice to have, by the way. That is a need. It is the reason why you were born into this world. I believe that every single person in here was brought to create. And because of that, you have goals to create. Make sure you finish your assignment. Because when you're out there being questioned by whatever deity you believe in, why you never completed your goals, your aspirations, and the things you are supposed to do, then you have a problem, my friend. And you're not required to sacrifice it on an altar for somebody else's comfort. I'll tell you that. Because it's your existence. There is a reason why you were brought into this world, and you have to make sure you show up for yourself first. Now, this week, I want you to identify one goal you've been quietly deprioritizing because of somebody else's feelings or whatever not. Just identify it, see it clearly, name it. And then ask yourself what it would look like to take one step toward it this week, even if it makes someone else uncomfortable. Do that and you'll see how much more you will feel like in terms of yourself. And now I'm going to give you practical applications, a few examples of when this would probably be something that happened. Now here's how this actually looks like in real life, because I know some of you are just listening and thinking, okay, but what do I do? Although I already gave you some other things to do. Let's get specific. This week, say no once, just once. Don't say no too many times, just once. To something you would normally say yes to out of guilt or obligation. Just say no once. You don't need a long explanation. I can't make that work is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. There. No without guilt. That is that. This week, I need you to do that. When you catch yourself about to make yourself the punchline, to deflect a compliment, to minimize your achievement, to laugh off something that actually hurt, pause. I always say this, say no, pause. You don't have to say anything profound, just don't say anything. Don't do the thing, just don't do it. If you know you cannot say, oh, thank you, to a compliment. Or, no, but I don't look better than you. Please, just stop, say nothing. Say thank you, move on with your life. Why are we acting like there's something wrong with getting a compliment? Honestly, when you catch yourself doing any of those things, don't do it. Simple, easy, don't do it. Now, this week, you're going to change one narrative. One, not 20, no, just one. You just think one time you see yourself catching yourself saying something wrong or bad about yourself, catch it. Catch it, darling, and then go, oops. I know that ain't me. I know I didn't say that to myself. Move on from it. When you catch yourself thinking, I always mess up. Oh, I'm bad at this. Or I don't know how to do this. They don't really like me. Or I'm asking for too much. Stop. Look at the evidence. Like, where did you get this belief from? Is there actual evidence, or you just had one time you felt bad and then you thought, okay, so that genuinely means that this isn't for me. That this isn't no. Look at the real evidence. Look at the facts. Take away the value of thinking that simply one bad thing happened. If it happened once, it doesn't mean that it's gonna happen all the time. So you just look at the evidence that's there. Actually look at it and then give yourself some verdict. Give yourself the same verdict you'd give your best friend, the same verdict you'd give your daughter if she came to you crying, telling you how bad something was. I know we all like being soft to our daughter, so yeah. This week, do one thing purely because you want to. Not because it's productive, not because it looks good, not because it fits the version of you that other people are comfortable with, because you want to. That is it. That's the starting point. Not a full transformation, not a complete reinvention, not just 5 small decisions. That's just those 5 small decisions. 5 things that you can alter. That will tell your nervous system, you are safe enough to be yourself here. You're safe enough to be. You are safe enough to be soft. You are safe enough to do all these other things. And then you do it again next week. And the week after that. And slowly, the story changes. It changes from, I'm a bad person. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't pick myself. To, I'm just a person. I'm a living, breathing human being. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be kept. And I deserve to grow. There. That's your change. That's all you had to do. Literally, that is all you have. Now, as we come to a close, I want to leave with something. Being the villain is definitely not about being perfect. It's not about having everything figured out, and it's not about becoming someone who never flinches, never doubts, never feels too much, or never loves anyone. It's about becoming home and coming home to yourself. It's about deciding, maybe for the first time or maybe for the 100th time, that the version of you that exists where no one is watching, where there's no audience, where you're not performing for anyone else's comfort, that version of you is not something to be ashamed of. It's you deciding that if they're gonna see me as evil, they're gonna see me as a bad woman, as a bad person, for simply choosing myself, let them. Let go and let them. Be the villain. Let it be. Because that version of you is not a problem. That version of you is the point. You were not made to be easy. You were not made to be convenient. You were not made to be anybody else's hero. You are not meant to shrink into whatever shape for other people to feel okay about themselves. You are not water. You are not water. You cannot maneuver yourself into a glass. There's a reason that the other 30% of you is now water. Remember that. You are made to be here fully, loudly, and unapologetically. And I know it's scary to be viewed as the villain. I know the world has not always been kind enough to the people that show up that way. But here's what I also know. The people who are going to love you, like really love you, not the performance of you. That version, not the curated version of you, not the who never asks for too much. Those people need you to show up first. They need you to walk in as whole as you are. Because if you are fake, they will smell it and they will walk away. So walk in whole, walk in like the villain. That's what we're doing here. And I'll see you next time. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.